Hey guys, tonight we journey to the serene and elegant imperial court of ancient Japan, a world of silk screens, whispered poetry, and breathtakingly complex etiquette. We'll discover the secret language of handheld fans, where a simple flick of the wrist or a specific fold could convey a hidden message of love, curiosity, or gentle refusal, all without a single word. But when you picture Heian-era Japan, you might imagine a peaceful watercolor painting of cherry blossoms and tranquil temples. The reality, for a courtier, was a minefield of political intrigue, social ruin over a misplaced word, and the constant, crushing pressure to be perfect. Honestly, if you wore the wrong color robe for the season, you wouldn't just be a fashion disaster, you'd be a social pariah. You probably wouldn't last a week. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you retuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. My existence begins with a scent. Before I can see or feel, I can smell. It is the clean, sharp, almost citrusy fragrance of hinoki wood, the sacred Japanese cypress. I am a thought in an artisan's mind, a potential held within a flawless block of pale, straight-grained timber. His hands, weathered and wise, move with a reverence that suggests this is more than just a craft. It is a form of meditation. I feel the whisper-soft slide of a steel plane across my surface, shaving off translucent curls of wood that fall like incense offerings to the floor of his quiet workshop. He is not just shaping wood. He is listening to it, finding the perfect slivers that will become my bones. He cuts me into 23 thin, identical ribs. 23, not 22, not 24. An odd number for luck and for beauty. It's a lot of pressure, being born from such precision. I hope I can live up to it. Then comes the sound of silk. Not the heavy brocade of an empress's robe, but the delicate, paper-thin rustle of washi paper, reinforced with fine silk threads. It is stretched taut upon a wooden frame, a pale, creamy canvas waiting for a story. The artisan's wife takes over now. Her touch is different, lighter, but just as certain. She grinds her pigments on a stone slate, malachite for a soft green, azurite for a deep, dreamy blue, and crushed seashells for a luminous white. Her brush, made from the winter coat of a weasel, hovers over my surface for a moment. Then, with a sigh that is part breath, part prayer, she begins to paint. I feel the gentle, cool drag of the ink-laden bristles. A branch, gnarled and ancient, takes shape on my left side. Then a scattering of delicate five-petaled flowers, their centers a blushing pink. Cherry blossoms. On the other side, a winding stream appears. Its water is a gentle blue, with flecks of gold leaf sprinkled across its surface to catch the light like a morning sun. I am not just a surface anymore. I am a scene, a tiny, portable piece of a perfect spring day. Historians still argue whether the adhesive used to bind me was a simple rice paste or a more complex fish-based glue. But whatever it is, it feels like a promise of unity. One by one, the woman carefully attaches my painted silk skin to my cypress ribs. The process is slow, deliberate. Each rib must be perfectly aligned, each fold crisp and exact. A mistake now would ruin everything. No pressure, lady. Finally, the pivot. A single, small rivet of deer antler is pushed through the base of my ribs, securing them all to a single point of movement. It is the anchor of my being. The artisan takes me back, and for the first time, I experience motion. He opens me with a soft whip, a sound like a bird taking flight. The air rushes past my painted surface, and the world, once a blur of the workshop, is now a focused panorama. He closes me, and the world disappears into a neat, slender line of wood and folded silk. Open, closed. A scene appears. It vanishes. This is what I am. I am a bringer and a taker of views. A whisper made visible. As a final touch, a tassel of purple silk, the color of nobility, is tied to my pivot. A small carved bead of jade dangles from it, cool and smooth. I am complete. I am placed inside a soft silk pouch and then laid within a box of polished lacquer. It is dark and quiet, and the scent of cypress is all around me. I am waiting for my purpose, waiting for you. The darkness does not last forever. One day, the lid of my lacquer box is lifted and a soft filtered light pours in, chasing away the familiar shadows. It's not the bright, direct sun of the workshop, but a gentle, milky luminescence, as if the light itself has been strained through rice paper. It has. I am lifted from my silk pouch by hands that are nothing like the artisan's. These hands are slender, pale, and impossibly soft. Your hands. Your fingers are tipped with nails that are long and perfectly shaped, though unadorned. You smell faintly of cherry blossoms and a clean, starchy scent from your robes. You hold me for a moment, simply feeling my weight, the smoothness of my cypress guard ribs. Then, with a delicate and practiced motion, you unfurl me. Thwip. The sound is soft but crisp in the quiet room. My painted landscape of spring is revealed to you, and I feel your gaze travel over my painted stream and my golden flecks of sun. You close me, then open me again, this time more slowly, a gentle rustle of silken wood. You are learning my language, my rhythm. I am no longer an artisan's creation. I am an extension of you. My first view of my new home is one of quiet elegance. We are in a small room within the sprawling wooden complex of the Heian-Kyo Palace. There is no clutter. The floor is covered with woven tatami mats, their grassy scent a subtle perfume in the air. The walls are paper, shy screens that slide silently in wooden grooves, painted with images of cranes and bamboo. The only furniture is a low writing desk of dark, polished wood and a single bronze vase holding a sprig of plum blossom. This world is not about what you see, but about what is suggested. It is a world of shadows, whispers, and empty space that is full of meaning. You carry me to a polished bronze mirror, and for the first time, I see you. Your face is a perfect oval, painted with a thick layer of white Oshira powder, a stark contrast to your long, black hair that hangs down your back like a sheet of polished lacquer. Your eyebrows have been plucked away entirely, only to be drawn back on as faint, dreamy smudges high on your forehead. And when you smile at your reflection, a smile of quiet satisfaction, I see that your teeth are lacquered a deep, shiny black. This practice, called ohaguro, is a mark of supreme beauty and maturity. To me, it is a startling void, a beautiful darkness where a smile should be. It's one of the first rules I learn. Here, beauty is not what is natural, but what is meticulously constructed. Tucking me gently into the wide sleeve of your robe, you begin to move. We glide through long, covered corridors of dark, gleaming wood. The air is cool and smells of cypress and ancient timbers. There are no loud footsteps here, only the soft, rhythmic rustle of silk, as you and other ladies of the court pass one another. You walk with tiny, shuffling steps, a necessity created by the sheer weight and volume of your robes. You wear what they call a Jane Hito, or 12-layer robe, though the number of layers varies. Today, you are wearing 8. I can feel the weight of them, the soft friction of silk on silk. Each layer is a different shade, a carefully chosen palette of colors that harmonizes with the season, the time of day, and even your mood. The slightest mistake in color choice could bring social ridicule. It's like a high-stakes, full-body paint swatch test every single day. We are deep within the dowry, the imperial residential compound, a labyrinth of halls, private chambers, and gardens, all connected by these endless wooden walkways. We pass other courtiers, both men and women. They do not look directly at each other. They offer a slight bow, their eyes downcast, their faces serene and unreadable. Everything is communicated through posture, the angle of a bow, the speed of a step. I realize that I am not just an object for creating a breeze. In a world where faces are still and emotions are hidden, I am to become your voice. You pause by a screen and slide it open just a crack. You are not supposed to be looking, but you are. Through the gap, I can see a group of men in a garden, their tall black hats lacquered and glistening. They are composing poetry, it seems, taking turns speaking lines of verse. One of them mentions a promotion to the Ministry of Ceremonies, and a flicker of something envy, admiration, crosses another's face before it is smoothed away. This is the currency of your world, poetry and promotions. Scholars today still debate how widespread literacy was among hand court women, but as you listen, you reach into your sleeve and your fingers trace the shape of a folded piece of paper you have hidden there. It seems you at least have your secrets. Tucked against the silk of your robe, I can feel the warmth of your skin. I am a part of this world now, a silent accessory to a life that is far more complex and dangerous than my painted spring day could ever suggest. The day begins not with a sound, but with a change in the quality of light. The pale glow filtering through the Shiji screen shifts from the cool blue-gray of pre-dawn to a warmer, rosier hue. I am resting on a small, lacquered stand beside your sleeping pallet, my folds neatly closed. The air is thick with the scent of incense that was lit the night before, a smoky, sweet perfume that has settled into the very grain of the wooden pillars. From outside comes the faint sound of a temple bell, a single deep chime that resonates and fades, marking the start of a new day in the capital. Soon, 2 women enter your chamber. They move with a practiced silence, their feet making no sound on the tatami mats. They are your ladies-in-waiting, your dressers, your confidants, and your personal stage crew for the daily performance of being you. One of them slides open a wooden shutter, allowing a soft beam of morning light to cut across the room. It illuminates the floating dust motes, turning them into a glittering, swirling galaxy for a brief moment. Your preparations begin. One of the ladies brings a ceramic basin of water and a small porcelain pot. This pot, I learn, contains something quite extraordinary. It gives you no fun or nightingale droppings. This is your cleanser, a prized substance believed to gently bleach and soften the skin. You use it every morning, a ritual that involves mixing the fine, dry powder into a paste and carefully applying it. It's the height of organic skincare, I suppose, though one has to wonder about the poor soul whose job it is to follow nightingales around with a tiny bucket. Once your face is cleansed and patted dry with a soft silk cloth, the true artistry begins. This is the application of oshiroi, the iconic white powder that will become your face for the day. It's not a light dusting of powder like you might imagine. It is a thick white paste made from rice powder and, more often than not, white lead. Your attendant mixes it with water in a small bowl, whisking it into a smooth, paint-like consistency. Then, with a flat brush, she begins to carefully paint your face, your neck, and your upper chest. The layer is opaque, erasing your natural skin tone and transforming you into a living piece of porcelain. She is careful to leave a small, unpainted border around your hairline, a subtle trick to show that this is indeed a mask, a beautiful artifice, not a deception. Historians debate whether the lead-based oshiroi was known to be toxic, or if the resulting skin problems and illnesses were simply accepted as part of the price of beauty. Watching you sit so still, it seems a heavy price to pay for perfection. Next, your eyebrows. They are painstakingly plucked, leaving a smooth, high canvas. Your lady-in-waiting then takes a stick of charcoal and draws 2 new eyebrows. Not where yours used to be, but much higher, like faint, dark clouds floating near your hairline. They are called smudge brows, and they give your face a perpetually surprised, dreamy expression. Finally, the ohatero. You take a small cup containing a dark, foul-smelling liquid, mixture of iron filings, tea powder, and vinegar, which you apply to your teeth with a feather brush. The goal is a deep, lustrous black, a color that was seen as profoundly beautiful, perhaps because it hid expressions and contrasted so starkly with the white face paint. The process looks uncomfortable, and the metallic scent fills the air for a moment. Modern makeup tutorials with their 17 steps for contouring have nothing on this. This is architectural. With your face complete, the main event begins, the selection of the robes. Your senior lady-in-waiting directs the other as they bring in the layers of silk. It is early spring, so the color combination, the Kasan no Iram, is critical. Today, you have chosen Plum Blossom of the underside. The layers are laid out, one on top of the other, a deep crimson red on bottom, followed by shades of paler red, and finally a top layer of pure white. The effect, when worn, is a subtle gradient of color at the sleeves and collar, meant to evoke the way a plum blossom is paler on its outer petals and darker near its heart. You stand as they begin to dress you. First, the simple white silk underrobe, then layer after layer of unlined silk, each one slightly longer than the one before it, creating that perfect cascade of color. Each robe is tied with a simple sash, but the weight builds. 1 layer, 2, 4, 7. It is a slow, methodical process. I can hear the soft hiss of silk sliding over silk, a sound like falling leaves. Finally, the more formal outer layers are added, a stiff, brocaded gown, then the short, jacket-like karajinu, and finally the long, trailing mo at the back, a pleated train that wrestles behind you like a second shadow. The combined weight must be enormous. To run, to hurry, to even take a large step would be impossible. You are now a magnificent, beautiful statue. Your transformation is complete. You are no longer just you. You are a living embodiment of the season, a walking poem of silk and color. You reach out and take me from my stand. You open me with a flick of your wrist. My own painted cherry blossoms a perfect complement to your plum-colored robes. In the mirror, we are a single, harmonious image of Heian elegance. We are ready to face the court. Word count 1098, awaiting continue. Your ladies in waiting bow low as you turn from the mirror. One of them slides open the shiji screen of your chamber, and you step out into the long, open-air corridor that connects the various buildings of your residential quarter. The floorboards, made of polished cypress wood, are cool beneath your silk-wrapped feet. They have been worn smooth by centuries of silent, gliding steps, and they reflect the gray morning light like the surface of a still pond. The wood lets out a soft, musical groan under the immense weight of your 12-layered robes, a sound that is not a flaw, but a sign of the palace's great age. We begin our journey. Your steps are impossibly small and slow, dictated by the constricting silks. It is less a walk and more a graceful drift. The corridors are a world of lines and shadows. Massive, unpainted wooden pillars march in a steady rhythm, holding up the heavy, tiled roof. Between them, the outer world is a series of framed pictures, a manicured garden with raked white gravel, a single twisted pine tree, the corner of another building's roof. This is how you see your world not as a whole, but in carefully curated glimpses. You hold me in your right hand, my folded form resting lightly against your palm. As we move, I feel the subtle sway of your gait, the gentle rustle of your sleeves. We are not alone. Other figures glide past us in the opposite direction. A group of ladies from another household, their own layered robes, a different seasonal palette of wisteria and carieja. You do not make eye contact. You incline your head ever so slightly, a gesture of acknowledgement so subtle it is almost invisible. They return it. Words are clumsy here. Respect is measured in degrees of inclination. You pause for a moment beside a larger chamber. From within, through the bamboo blinds or cedar that cover the opening, you can hear the faint sound of a man's voice, low and melodic. He is reciting a poem, something about the morning dew on a lotus leaf. A woman's voice, softer still, responds with a gentle laugh, a sound like tiny silver bells. You cannot see them. You can only see the shifting silhouettes behind the blinds, dark shapes against the light. This is a fundamental rule of your life. Unrelated men and women of the court do not meet face-to-face in informal settings. All interaction is mediated by screens, by letters, by go-betweens. Love and politics are conducted through a veil. As you stand there, you slowly raise me, my guard ribs resting against your cheek, as if you are simply contemplating the garden, but I know better. It is a gesture of concealment, making you even less conspicuous as you listen. I am your portable wall, your handheld screen. I allow you to observe without being observed. This is one of my primary functions. The conversation inside shifts from poetry to a new appointment in the Treasury Ministry. Your grip on me tightens almost imperceptibly. Information is power, and in the Heian court, it is gathered in whispers, in overheard fragments. Historians still debate just how much could be overheard through the paper-thin walls and screens, and whether this accidental eavesdropping was a tolerated, or even expected, part of courtly information gathering. From what I can feel, it seems less like an accident and more like a skill. We continue on, passing another room where a lady sits just visible behind her kitchu, a portable curtain of state. It is a small, two-paneled silk screen on a lacquered stand, decorated with painted peonies. It's set up just inside the room's entrance, creating a second barrier behind the main screens. A male visitor is kneeling in the corridor just outside it, speaking to the silk panel as if it were the lady herself. The kitchu is just tall enough to hide her face as she sits, though the elaborate hem of her robes is visible beneath it. It is the perfect quirky symbol of this entire world, the deep desire to be present and yet remain perfectly hidden, all at once. It's a bit like having a conversation with someone who is hiding behind a shower curtain. Finally, we arrive at a larger hall, where other ladies are already gathered, kneeling on silk cushions in neat, silent rows. The air is thick with the competing scents of their personal incense blends. You take your designated place, arranging the heavy folds of your robes around you in a perfect circle. You still have not spoken a single word since you woke. You do not need to. Your robes have announced your taste, your posture has announced your rank, and I, held loosely in your hand, am ready to announce your thoughts. You sit a picture of serene stillness, but I can feel the tension in your fingers. You are waiting, you are watching, and so am I. The hall is quiet, but it is a charged, humming silence, like the air before a storm. The ladies are gathered for what appears to be a poetry reading, but the real event is the subtle, unspoken social maneuvering that happens in the spaces between the verses. You are kneeling in the second row, a position of respectable but not ostentatious rank. Your posture is perfect, your back a straight line, your hands resting on your knees. Then he arrives. A group of male courtiers enters the hall and takes their places on the opposite side, a respectful distance away. Among them is a young captain of the Imperial Guard. He is tall for a Heian man, and he carries himself with a quiet confidence that stands out in this room of studied humility. His robes are a striking combination of deep green and lavender, meant to evoke the irises blooming in the palace gardens. His lacquered hat is set at a precise, formal angle, and when he kneels, his movements are fluid and graceful. Your gaze, which has been politely fixed on the floor in front of you, flickers up for just a second, and then returns to its proper place. But it was enough. As the poetry reading begins, a senior noble reads from a scroll in a low, sonorous monotone. The poem is about the fleeting nature of the spring rains. It is elegant. It is profound. It is also, I suspect, a little bit boring. Your attention is not on the poem. It is on the young captain. You cannot stare, of course. To do so would be an act of shocking forwardness, the sort of scandal that would be gleefully whispered about behind screens for weeks. You need a way to look without looking. You need me. Slowly, as if you are simply growing a little warm from the stuffy air, you lift me from your lap. You bring me up to your chest, holding me with both hands. Then, with a motion so smooth it seems almost subconscious, you open me, but you do not open me all the way. You unfurl me to about half my full span, a partial bloom. My painted cherry blossoms are visible, but my form is incomplete. You hold me there, just below your chin, my upper edge shielding the lower half of your face. Your dark lacquered teeth are hidden. Your expression is a mystery. Only your eyes are visible above my silk canopy. This is the gesture. It is the language of the half-open glimpse. By opening me only partway, you signal a delicate, hesitant curiosity. You are not making a bold declaration. You are asking a silent question. A fully open fan might suggest an open heart, an invitation. A closed fan might mean indifference or rejection. But this halfway point is a perfect, ambiguous space. It says, I see you, but I'm not yet sure if I wish to be seen by you. It is the ultimate maybe. From behind my shield, you can now observe the captain more freely. You watch the way his fingers rest on the hilt of his ceremonial sword. You watch the way he inclines his head when the senior noble pauses. You are studying him, gathering information, all while appearing to be the very model of demure decorum. One of the quirks of Heian court life was the incredible amount of performance involved. Every gesture was a line in a play, and every accessory was a prop. For you, I am the most important prop of all. The captain, for his part, is a skilled actor as well. He does not look directly at you, but as the poetry reading drones on, he subtly shifts his own position. He turns his body ever so slightly in your direction. It is a tiny, almost imperceptible adjustment, but in this room, it is a shout. He has noticed you noticing him. He has received your silent message. He then reaches for his own fan, a more masculine design of dark wood and plain dark blue silk, and taps it once, very softly, against his open palm. A single crisp tap. What does it mean? Approval? A return question? The ambiguity is maddening and thrilling. A scholarly debate continues to this day about how formalized this fan language truly was. Was there a set dictionary of gestures that everyone understood, or was it more fluid and improvisational, dependent on context and the individuals involved? Watching you and the captain, it feels like a bit of both. The gesture of the half-open fan seems to be a known convention for curiosity, but his single tap feels personal, a new line in a conversation that has only just begun. You receive his response. You close me with a soft, deliberate rustle, a sound that says, message received. You then lower me back to your lap, my purpose served. The air between you and the captain is now filled with unspoken words, with potential. The boring poem about the spring rain has become the backdrop to a silent, electric drama. And I, a simple object of silk and wood, was the conduit for it all. I have discovered my true purpose. I am not for making a breeze. I am for making a connection. The days that follow our silent exchange in the poetry hall are filled with a new kind of quiet tension. You go about your duties with the same outward serenity, but there is a subtle change in your energy, a watchfulness in your eyes. You carry me with you everywhere, not just as an accessory, but as a potential tool, an unopened letter. You seem to be waiting for the captain's next move. It comes 3 days later. We are walking along a covered veranda that overlooks a small, exquisitely maintained garden. The garden is designed for contemplation with moss-covered stones, a miniature waterfall that provides a constant, gentle murmur, and a single, crimson-leafed maple tree that looks like a splash of blood against the muted greens and grays. It is a moment of rare solitude. As around a corner, one of your ladies-in-waiting, a young girl named Chio, is waiting for you. She bows deeply, her face a mask of innocence. but her eyes dart nervously from you to the empty corridor behind her. She is holding a single folded piece of paper. It is not the plain utilitarian paper of palace memos. This is Michi no Kugami, a thick, luxurious paper known for its slightly rough texture and creamy color. More importantly, it is scented. A faint, spicy, sweet fragrance of clove and sandalwood emanates from it, a scent that is distinctly masculine and deeply alluring. Chio does not hand it to you directly. That would be too risky, too open to observation. Instead, as you pass, you execute a flawless, silent maneuver. You bring me up, my form still closed, and hold me parallel to the floor, as if admiring the wood grain. Chio, in a single fluid motion, places the folded poem onto my flat surface. Your sleeve, wide and heavy, provides cover from any prying eyes. For a fraction of a second, the poem rests on me, a secret balanced on a bridge. Then you sweep me back towards your body, and the poem vanishes into the cavernous depths of your sleeve. The entire exchange takes less than 2 seconds. To anyone who might have glanced your way, it would have looked like nothing at all. You give Chio a single, slow blink, a gesture of thanks and dismissal, and continue your walk. My wooden ribs are now pressed against the precious paper hidden in your sleeve. I can feel the crisp edges of the fold, the slight thickness of the expensive parchment. The masculine scent of the poem's incense mingles with the more floral, feminine scent of your own robes. It is a fragrant conspiracy. Later, back in the safety of your private chambers, you finally retrieve it. With trembling fingers, you unfold the paper. I am lying on the tatami beside you, a silent accomplice. The poem is a waka, a 5-line verse with a strict syllable structure of 57577. The calligraphy is bold and elegant, the black ink stark against the creamy paper. You read it aloud, but in a whisper so soft it is barely audible, a sound intended only for you, and for me. My sleeves are damp now, not from the dew of the grass, but from endless tears, shed in the long, lonely night, thinking of a cold blossom. It is a masterpiece of Hanera passion. On the surface, it is a conventional lament of a lonely lover. But the layers of meaning are what matter. Is he the one shedding tears, or is he imagining your tears? And who is the cold blossom? Is it you, beautiful but distant? Is he worried that you are indifferent? The poem is both a declaration of his feelings and a desperate plea for reassurance. It is a common trope in Heian poetry to blame one's tear-soaked sleeves on the morning dew, a polite fiction to mask overwhelming emotion. He has used this convention to tell you that his feelings are anything but conventional. You read the poem again, and then a third time. A faint blush rises on your cheeks, visible even beneath the thick white oshiroi. You then bring the paper to your face and inhale its scent, a deep, lingering breath. For a moment, you close your eyes. You have received more than just a poem. You have received a piece of his soul, delivered in secret. What is the etiquette now? A fringe tidbit of Heian court life is that a response was expected, and quickly. To leave such a passionate poem unanswered would be a grave insult. But your response must be just as elegant, just as layered. A clumsy poem would be worse than no poem at all. You place his letter carefully into a small, lacquered box. Then you turn to your own writing desk. You will need new paper, a new scent, and a new verse. You pick me up and hold me, tapping my folded form gently against your chin as you think. What will you say? How will you use me to deliver your reply? The game has entered a new, more dangerous phase. It is no longer a game of silent glances, but of written words, of tangible evidence. And I, having been the vessel for his message, will surely be the vessel for yours. The secrets I am party to are growing heavier, more fragrant, and infinitely more complex. Word count, 1060 awaiting continue. The annual Cherry Blossom Festival, the Hanami, is one of the few occasions when the rigid formality of the court relaxes just a little. The Empress herself hosts a grand viewing party in the palace's most magnificent garden, and for a few hours, courtiers are permitted a degree of carefully managed merriment. The air is thick with the sweet, almond-like scent of the blossoms, which hang from the trees in heavy, pale pink clouds. The ground beneath the trees is covered with fallen petals, a delicate pink snow. You are dressed for the occasion in a stunning Kasan no item called Cherry Blossom, a symphony of layered silks that transition from a deep rose pink to the palest shell pink, and finally to white. You look like you have been dipped in the very essence of the festival. You hold me your own painted blossoms, a perfect echo of the real ones fluttering down around us. We find our designated spot on a large silk tapestry laid out on the grass. Other court ladies are already there, sipping tiny cups of sweet, unfiltered sake and nibbling on rice cakes shaped like flower petals. The mood is light, festive. But even here, in the sea of beauty and politeness, there are undercurrents. The captain is here. He is part of the honor guard standing near the Empress's pavilion. He has not looked your way, not once. His discipline is absolute, but you know he is aware of you. The poem you sent in reply, a coy verse about a blossom waiting for the right evening mist before revealing its true color, was delivered successfully by Chio. Now, the silence between you is not one of ignorance, but of shared knowledge, a secret that hums in the fragrant air. You use me to fan yourself, a slow, graceful rhythm that sends a gentle breeze across your powdered face. This is my most basic function, but even this is a performance. The speed and rhythm of my movement can convey your mood. A quick, sharp flutter might indicate excitement or agitation. A slow, languid wave suggests serene contentment. Today, your movements are measured, calm. You are a picture of grace. As you fan, you angle me just so, allowing you to watch the captain from the corner of your eye without turning your head. Your friends begin to gossip. It is the lifeblood of the court, as vital as poetry or promotions. They speak in low, musical whispers, their own fans held up to shield their words from any passing ears. I am angled to join the conspiracy, my silk surface becoming part of a temporary wall of secrets. They are talking about Lady Akiko from the house of Fujiwara. Did you see her robes? One of your friends whispers, her voice dripping with delicious pity. She has chosen willow, a magnificent set, of course, but she lets the sentence hang in the air. You know exactly what she means. The willow color combination layers of green and white is for late spring, for when the cherry blossoms have already fallen and the new green leaves have appeared. Lady Akiko has misjudged the season by a matter of weeks. In this court, it is a fatal error. It suggests she is out of touch, unattuned to the subtle rhythms of nature that govern everything. It is, to put it bluntly, the Heian equivalent of wearing white after Labor Day, but 1,000 times worse. You respond with a gesture, not a word. You bring me up to cover your mouth, and your shoulders shake in a silent, delicate laugh. You are expressing your amusement at Lady Akiko's expense, but you are doing it with a veneer of politeness. You are not seen to be openly mocking her. I am your shield for cattiness. Then you snap me shut with a soft click. The gesture is a punctuation mark. It says, enough of that. Let us speak of other things. The conversation shifts instantly. My movements have not only expressed your feelings, but have also directed the flow of the conversation, all without a single spoken command. Later, bowls of clear soup are served with a single perfect cherry blossom floating in each one. As you lift the bowl, you see him. The captain's eyes finally meet yours across the garden. It is only for a second, a fleeting connection. In that moment, you give me a tiny, almost imperceptible flutter, a quick little pulse of movement. It is a gesture of private acknowledgement, a secret hello that is visible only to him. He responds not with his fan, but with a slight dip of his head, an admission of the bond between you. The party continues, with music from a stringed koto and a flute. But for you, The real music is the silent conversation you are having across a field of blossoms. Scholars of the Henan period often wonder how much of the era's romance was based on actual interaction versus pure, idealized imagination. Given the extreme restrictions, couples could go weeks or months communicating only through poems and fleeting glances. The love affair was often with the idea of the person, not the person themselves. You and the captain are living that reality. Your entire relationship exists in these stolen moments, in the space between the lines of a poem and in the silent, fluttering language of a fan. A few weeks after the Blossom viewing, the court's attention turns to a decidedly more athletic, though no less formal, event, a game of Kemari. This is a type of ceremonial football, but it's a world away from any modern sport. There are no teams, no goals, and no tackling. The objective is simply to keep a deerskin ball in the air for as long as possible using only one's feet, knees, and head, and to do so with the utmost grace and elegance. It is a game of cooperative style, not competitive substance. The game is played in a small, square court marked by 4 trees, usually a cherry, a maple, a pine, and a willow, representing the 4 seasons. You and the other high-ranking ladies are seated on a raised platform along one side, offering a perfect elevated view of the proceedings. The men of the court, dressed in elaborate silk robes that seem utterly impractical for any kind of physical activity, take their places in the court. Among them, of course, is the captain. His usual formidable armor is gone, replaced by softer silks, and he looks younger, more approachable. But there is a problem. Seated just a few cushions away from you is Lord Fujiwara no Tadamichi, a powerful but notoriously dull minister from the Department of the Treasury. He is a man in his late 50s, with a reedy voice and a penchant for composing poems about fiscal policy. And he has decided, for reasons known only to the gods and his own misguided heart, that you're the object of his courtly affections. As the game begins, Lord Tadamichi leans towards you. The agility of those young men, he murmurs, his breath smelling faintly of pickled radish. It reminds me of the swift and efficient collection of rice taxes in the outer provinces. This is, quite possibly, the least romantic sentence ever uttered in the history of high-end Japan. You need to escape this conversation, but you cannot simply get up and move. You cannot turn your back on him. That would be a catastrophic breach of etiquette. You need a shield, a polite, elegant, and unbreachable wall. You slowly raise me from your lap. You open me fully this time, my entire painted landscape of spring on display. The gesture is slow, deliberate, as if you are captivated by my design. You then bring me up, holding me with both hands, and tilt me so that my upper edge rests against the side of your forehead. My wide, circular form now completely blocks your view of Lord Tadamichi, and, more importantly, his view of you. To him, you are now speaking to a beautiful scene of cherry blossoms. Indeed, my lord, you say, your voice slightly muffled by my silk skin. Their grace is remarkable. From behind my protective barrier, you can now ignore him completely and focus on the game. You watch the captain. He is a natural at Kemari. While the other men are flailing, their movements often clumsy, his are precise and beautiful. He keeps the ball aloft with a series of effortless kicks, his body seeming to flow with the ball's gentle arc. He makes it look like a dance. Lord Tadamichi, undeterred, continues to drone on. That particular kicking style, the one that arcs so high, it has the same lofty trajectory as our 5-year economic forecast. He sighs wistfully. You are now in a tiny, private world of your own making, listening to a brilliant athlete on one side and a human tax report on the other. It's a very strange kind of surround sound. You use me to make a subtle adjustment, tilting my angle ever so slightly. This small movement allows you to catch the captain's eye as the ball sails to another player. You give a minuscule dip of your head, a sign of admiration for his skill. He sees it, A small smile touches his lips for a fraction of a second before he resumes his game face. Your secret communication continues, even under the shadow of a fiscal policy lecture. One of the most peculiar aspects of Kumari, and something historians love to point out, is the specialized vocabulary used. Players would shout specific words to call for a pass or to praise a good kick. But these were not aggressive shouts. They were melodic calls that were considered part of the game's aesthetic. The whole event was as much an auditory experience as a visual one. The game ends when the ball is finally gracefully allowed to fall to the ground. Lord Tadamichi seems poised to launch into a new monologue about the depreciation of temple assets, but the players are bowing and dispersing. The moment is over. You slowly lower me, folding me with a quiet snap. You turn to the minister and give him a serene, enigmatic smile. A truly wonderful game, my lord. So much calculation. He beams, completely missing the double meaning. He thinks you have been enthralled by his financial poetry. You have survived the encounter. You have flirted with the captain. You have done it all from behind a paper screen you can hold in your hand. I was not a tool for cooling you today. I was a tool for enduring boredom, a silent, beautiful weapon against the persistently dull. As summer deepens, the days grow long and heavy with humidity. The cicadas in the palace gardens keep up a relentless shimmering drone from dawn until dusk, a sound that seems to make the air even hotter. The nights, however, offer a slight reprieve, a time when the stifling heat gives way to a warm, velvety darkness. It is on one of these nights that you are invited to a gathering that is a staple of the Heian summer, a session of Hyukumanogari Keidenkai, or a gathering of 100 supernatural tailies. The concept is simple and delightfully spooky. A group of courtiers gathers in a room where 100 candles have been lit. One by one, each person tells a kaiden, a ghost story. After each story is finished, a single candle is extinguished, plunging the room ever deeper into shadow. The goal is to tell 100 stories, and by the time the final candle is snuffed out, it is believed that a real ghost or spirit, drawn by the telling of so many tailies, will appear. We are in a large, airy room that opens onto a dark, unlit garden. The only light comes from the 100 paper lantern candles arranged in a circle in the center of the floor. Their flickering glow casts long, dancing shadows on the shiki screens. The air is thick with the scent of a special insect-repelling incense, a smoky, herbal fragrance that does little to dispel the growing atmosphere of dread. You are kneeling on a silk cushion, holding me loosely in your lap. The stories begin. They are told in low, hushed voices, each narrator trying to outdo the last in terms of sheer terror. There are tales of vengeful spirits of jilted lovers, of goblin cats that devour priests, of a woman's face that appears on a willow tree. The stories are not just meant to scare. They are works of art filled with poetic descriptions and a deep sense of mono, nowhere, the gentle sadness of things. As each tale concludes, a designated person rises, bows, and extinguishes one candle. The room grows noticeably darker. The shadows deepen, and the remaining candle flames seem to burn with a more intense, watchful light. The mood in the room shifts from one of pleasant theatrical fear to something more genuine. The nervous laughter that followed the first few stories has died away, replaced by a tense silence between the tailies. It is your turn. You have prepared a story about the ghost of a court poet who died of a broken heart. You tell it well, your voice a soft, melodic whisper that draws everyone in. You speak of how his spirit still wanders the palace corridors on rainy nights, composing endless poems of sorrow that he tucks into the sleeves of sleeping ladies. As you reach the climax of your tale, the moment when a lady wakes to find a soggy, tear-stained poem from a ghost in her robe, you punctuate the final word with a sharp, sudden movement. Snap. You close me with a percussive clap that cuts through the silence of the room. It is a brilliant piece of showmanship. Several of the ladies jump, gasping. One lets out a tiny, stifled shriek. In the dim, flickering light, your gesture has the effect of a sudden, unexpected sound in a silent tomb. You have not just told a story, you have created a moment of shared, visceral terror. You have played your audience as skillfully as a musician plays a koto. One of the more peculiar debates among folklorists is whether anyone ever actually made it through all 100 dailies. It's widely believed that most groups would stop at the 99th story, too terrified to tell the last one and risk summoning a real apparition. The 99th tale thus became a kind of climax, the peak of the fear, after which the tension could be safely broken. It was all about building suspense to the breaking point, but never actually breaking it. After your story, a candle is extinguished, and the room is now very dark indeed. Only a handful of flames remain, their light feeble against the encroaching gloom. The faces of the other courtiers are pale, ghostly masks in the dim light. Now, even the slightest sound from the garden outside, the rustle of a leaf, the croak of a frog, seems sinister, charged with supernatural meaning. A senior courtier begins the next tale, his voice trembling slightly. It is a story about a haunted baiwa, a lute that plays itself at midnight. As he speaks, you use me in a new way. You open me just a crack and peer through the gap at the other ladies, gauging their reactions. You are studying the art of fear. You see Lady Akiko, your rival from the Cherry Blossom Festival, clutching her own fan so tightly her knuckles are white. You see young Chio, your lady-in-waiting, her eyes wide with genuine terror. In this world, even fear is a performance. To show too much fear is unsophisticated. To show no fear at all is arrogant. The goal is to display a perfect, elegant, and controlled state of terror. Your snap of the fan was a key move in this drama. It was a declaration that you understood the game, that you could manipulate the emotions of the room with a single sharp sound. I was your instrument, not of music, but of fear. And in the deepening darkness, surrounded by whispers of ghosts and the watchful eyes of the court, I have never felt more alive. The summer heat gives way to the crisp, clear air of autumn. The leaves of the maple trees in the palace gardens are turning brilliant shades of crimson and gold. The mood of the court shifts with the season, becoming more introspective, more melancholic. It is a time for contemplating the beauty of decay, a central theme in your culture's aesthetic. It is also a time when the political maneuvering, which never truly stops, seems to take on a sharper, more urgent edge as the year draws to a close. You have grown bolder in your communications with the captain. Poems are now exchanged almost daily, delivered by the ever-loyal Chio. His verses have grown more passionate, more impatient. He speaks of wanting to see you without a screen between you, a desire that is both romantic and incredibly dangerous. You have become adept at managing this secret affair, but you are also aware that you are walking on a knife's edge. One mistake, one intercepted poem, could lead to ruin for you both. Today, you have a new message to send him, one that cannot be trusted to paper. It is a message of warning. You have overheard whispers again during one of your accidental listening sessions behind a screen that a rival clan, the Minamoto, is quietly questioning the Emperor's recent appointments. Appointments that were heavily influenced by your own Fujiwara family. The whispers are faint, but they carry the scent of a conspiracy. You must warn the captain, whose loyalty is to the current regime, and by extension, to your family. You decide to do it through the language of incense. In Heian, Japan, incense was not just a perfume. It was a complex form of communication. Courtiers would create their own personal blends, or owaseiko, from a palette of aromatic woods, resins, and spices. Your personal blend was a well-known secret, a light floral mix of sandalwood, cherry blossom, and a hint of camphor. It was your signature. To send a message on paper scented with this incense was to sign your name. But today, you choose a different blend, You sit at your small incense table, a set of delicate bronze tools laid out before you. You grind not your usual floral components, but a stark, powerful mixture, a heavy base of a loose wood, known for its deep, resinous scent, mixed with a sharp, medicinal hit of clove and a touch of burnt cedar. It is a scent that is traditionally used in religious purification ceremonies. It is a scent that speaks of seriousness, of danger. It is the fragrant equivalent of a coded message. You take me and hold me over the smoldering incense burner. The smoke, thick and gray, curls around my silken paper skin, clinging to my folds. I become saturated with the new, alarming fragrance. The light, happy scent of spring that I have carried for months is now overpowered by this somber monastic perfume. I am no longer a symbol of your romantic feelings. I am now a vessel for a political warning. Later that day, you see him. You are in a procession, walking towards the main ceremonial hall. He is part of the military escort. As you pass, you accidentally drop me. It is a flawless performance. Your hand seems to lose its grip, and I flutter to the polished wooden floor, landing directly in his path. It is a shocking breach of your usual perfect composure, and it is entirely deliberate. He stops. He stoops to retrieve me, his movements swift and sure. As his fingers close around my guard ribs, he will notice two things. First, the unfamiliar, alarming scent. He will know it is not your usual fragrance, and will understand that it signifies a change, a warning. Second, he will feel the way you have tied your purple silk tassel. You have knotted it not once, but twice, a tiny, almost unnoticeable detail. It is another part of the code, a double knot for double your guard. He rises and hands me back to you, his face impassive, his eyes betraying nothing. But as you take me, his fingers brush against yours for a fraction of a second. It is the first time you have ever touched. The contact is electric, a jolt of warmth that stands in stark contrast to the cold, calculated message I carry. As you continue on your way, me safely back in your hand, you pass two high-ranking ministers from the Minamoto clan. They are whispering to each other, their own fans held high to conceal their conversation. But as they pass, I catch a fragment of their words, a whisper that my new smoky scent seems to attract. The Empress's health, a long winter, an opportunity. The words hang in the air, chilling you to the bone. They are not just questioning appointments. They are talking about the succession. They are plotting, waiting for a moment of weakness. The game has just become infinitely more dangerous. Historians still argue about the extent of these courtly plots, whether they were genuine conspiracies or just the constant, low-level grumbling of ambitious families. But what I overheard and what you now suspect feels very real. I am no longer just an accessory to a love affair. I have become an unwitting party to a discussion of treason. My silk folds, now scented with a loose wood and secrets, feel heavier than they ever have before. The air in the court is thick with the unspoken tension of the whispers you overheard. Every glance seems to hold a double meaning. Every polite smile feels like a mask. In this atmosphere of heightened anxiety, you receive an invitation to a kadu, or wave incense, ceremony. This is not the casual perfuming of a letter. It is a highly ritualized and deeply aesthetic game, a form of art that requires immense concentration and sensory refinement. It is, you realize, the perfect antidote to the chaos you feel swirling around you. The ceremony is held in a small, specially designated tea house in a secluded part of the palace gardens. The room is almost empty, its beauty derived from its simplicity. The walls are a soft, earthen plaster. The ceiling is woven from thin strips of bamboo, and in the center of the room, a single, perfect white chrysanthemum sits in a simple clay vase. The only other object is the small bronze incense burner, which is already emitting a faint trail of white smoke. You kneel on a silk cushion, joining a small select group of high-ranking ladies. The silence in the room is absolute. It is not the charged silence of a poetry reading, but a deep, meditative quiet where the only goal is to be fully present. The Komodo, or master of the ceremony, is a wizened old woman whose face is a roadmap of wrinkles, each one earned through a lifetime of appreciating the subtle. She explains the rules of the game we are about to play. It is called Genjiko, a complex game that links different combinations of incense to the 54 chapters of the Tale of Genji, the epic novel that is the cornerstone of your literary world. The Komodo will prepare 5 small packets of incense. Some of these will contain the same scent. The packets will be heated one by one and passed around the group. Your task is to silently listen to the fragrance of each, and then, using a special set of symbols, write down which of the scents are the same. For example, if the first and third scents are identical, but the others are different, you would draw a specific symbol that corresponds to that pattern. Each pattern is named after a chapter from the Tale of Genji. It is a game of memory, of discernment, and of profound stillness. And there is one critical rule that applies directly to me. During a Kado ceremony, fanning is strictly forbidden. Any movement of air could disturb the delicate trail of incense smoke, mixing the scents and confusing the players. To use a fan would be an act of olfactory vandalism. So you place me on the tatami mat beside you, my form neatly closed. For the next hour, I am to be nothing more than a silent, motionless object. The game begins. The Komodo places the first sliver of incense onto a hot piece of charcoal buried in a bowl of white ash. A thin, fragrant plume of smoke rises. The bowl is passed to the First Lady. She cups her hands around the rim, lowers her head, and inhales deeply, her eyes closed in concentration. She holds the scent in her memory, then passes the bowl to the next person. For me, this is a lesson in a new kind of existence. I am used to being an active participant, a tool of communication, a shield. Now, my purpose is to be completely, utterly still. My silence, which was once a medium for your messages, is now a requirement of the ceremony itself. I lie on the mat, my painted blossoms facing upwards, a silent observer of a silent ritual. The bowl reaches you. You perform the ritual perfectly. You bow to the person who handed it to you, rotate the bowl twice in your hands, and then listen to the fragrance. The scent is of Kiara, the highest grade of a loosewood, a fragrance so complex and profound it is said to contain all 5 tastes: sweet, bitter, hot, salty, and sour. You hold the memory of it, your face a mask of serene focus. The 5 scents are passed. The room remains silent, save for the soft rustle of silk as the bowl moves from person to person. One of the most fascinating fringe tidbits about Kado is the development of a kind of synesthetic appreciation. Practitioners spoke not just of smelling the incense, but of seeing its color, hearing its voice, or of feeling its texture. It was a total sensory immersion. When the game is over, the Komodo collects your written answers. She examines them and then announces the result. You and one other lady have correctly identified the pattern. The pattern for today corresponds to the 34th chapter of the Genji saga, Wakana, or New Herbs. The prize is not a jewel or a promotion. The prize is simply the honor of having understood, of having listened correctly. You are given the small folded paper on which the incense was prepared, now a precious, fragrant souvenir of your victory. As the ceremony concludes, you pick me up. My stillness is no longer required. You fan yourself once, a slow, gentle wave. The movement of air feels dramatic, almost violent, after the profound quiet of the past hour. The Kadu ceremony has taught me something new about my own nature. My power lies not only in my movement, the snap, the flutter, the half glimpse, but also in my potential for stillness. In a court that is a whirlwind of whispers, secrets, and unspoken desires, The ability to be perfectly still, to simply listen, is a power all its own. The victory in the incense game brings a quiet sense of satisfaction, a small island of order in the sea of your growing anxieties. The whispers of the Minamoto plot have not faded. If anything, the silence from the captain, no poems, no clandestine messages since you sent your warning, is more unnerving than a direct reply would have been. He is being careful, which is good, but the lack of contact leaves you feeling isolated. It is in this mood of pensive melancholy that you attend the annual moon viewing festival, or Tsukimi. This is not a boisterous party like the cherry blossom viewing. It is a quiet, contemplative event designed to appreciate the beauty of the full autumn moon, which is considered to be at its most brilliant at this time of year. You are gathered with a small group of courtiers on a wide open veranda that extends out over a large pond. The surface of the water is perfectly still, a black mirror reflecting the night sky. The air is cool and carries the faint, earthy scent of chrysanthemums and damp moss. The only light comes from the moon itself, a perfect luminous orb that hangs in the inky sky, and the flickering flames of a few tall, standing lanterns placed at the edge of the veranda. There is no music, no loud conversation. The goal is to sit in silence, compose poetry, and reflect on the moon's beauty and the philosophical lessons it offers. The moon, with its constant waxing and waning, is the ultimate symbol of the Buddhist concept of impermanence. Its beauty is profound precisely because it is fleeting. This appreciation for the transient, the imperfect, is the heart of Mono now aware, the gentle sadness of things. You are kneeling, your heavy silk robes pulled around you. You hold me in your lap, my form closed and still. My role tonight is one of absolute restraint. To flutter me or snap me shut would be to shatter the profound stillness of the moment, a grave offense against the spirit of the evening. I am to be a silent companion to your thoughts. Beside you, a senior courtier begins to softly murmur the first lines of a poem he is composing, comparing the moon's reflection in the pond to a lost love, beautiful but impossible to grasp. Another lady sighs softly, a sound that is both sorrowful and appreciative. This is the emotional landscape of the evening, a shared quiet melancholy. You gaze at the moon, your face pale and luminous in its silvery light. Your thoughts, I can feel, are not just on the beauty of the night sky. You are thinking of the captain. You are thinking of the political plot swirling like dark clouds just out of sight. You are thinking of time, of how quickly the seasons turn, how quickly a blossom falls, how quickly a political fortune can change. The moon's poignant beauty seems to amplify your own sense of uncertainty. You reach into your sleeve and draw out a small, portable writing set, a tiny inkstone, a stick of dry ink, a small water dropper, and a fine-tipped brush. You grind a few drops of water into the ink, the soft, scraping sound barely audible in the quiet night. Then, on a strip of thick, decorated paper called a tanzaku, you begin to write. Your brush moves with a slow, deliberate grace, each stroke a perfect, controlled expression of your feelings. I watch, motionless, as you compose your waka. The faultless moon hangs, a mirror for my own heart. Both are full tonight, one with light, one with sorrow, and both are destined to wane. It is a beautiful, deeply personal verse. You have linked your own emotional state, a heart full of sorrow and anxiety, to the perfect fullness of the moon, acknowledging that both are temporary states. It is a perfect expression of mono nowhere. There is a scholarly debate about whether these poems were truly spontaneous compositions or if, like so much of Heian life, they were prepared in advance for just such an occasion. Knowing you, I suspect it is a bit of both, a prepared structure filled with the genuine emotion of the moment. You finish the poem and tie the tanzaku to the branch of a small maple tree placed on the veranda for this very purpose. The branches are already adorned with the poems of the other guests, the strips of paper fluttering gently in the slight breeze like prayer flags. For the rest of the evening, you remain in silent contemplation. You do not move. You do not speak. You simply watch the moon as it makes its slow journey across the sky. I remain still in your lap, a silent extension of your own meditative state. I am not a shield tonight, nor a weapon, nor a messenger. I am simply a witness to the moon, to the poetry, and to the quiet, complex sadness in your heart. I am learning that my purpose is not always to create an action, but sometimes to absorb a feeling. In the silent, silvered light of the autumn moon, I am becoming a vessel for your melancholy. The winter that follows the moon viewing is long and cold. The palace, with its paper walls and open corridors, feels drafty and desolate. The vibrant colors of the autumn leaves are gone, replaced by the stark, monochrome beauty of bare branches and occasionally a light dusting of snow. The court's social life retreats indoors, becoming more intimate, more claustrophobic. The political tensions, however, do not hibernate. The Minamoto whispers continue, and the Emperor's health, as they predicted, seems to be failing. You have aged. It is not a dramatic change, but a subtle one. You are now in your late 20s, an age that in the Hanan court marks the beginning of the end of a woman's celebrated youthful beauty. There are faint, fine lines around your eyes that the Oshiroi powder can no longer completely hide. You spend more time in your chambers, preferring the quiet companionship of your books and your ladies-in-waiting to the larger, more competitive gatherings of the court. Your melancholy, which was once a poetic accessory for moon viewing, has become a more constant companion. It is during this winter that I feel the first splinter of my own age. One afternoon, as you are fanning yourself idly while reading a scroll, I make a sound I have never made before. It is not the familiar, crisp thwip of my opening, but a tiny, sharp tick. A sound of protest. You pause, closing me slowly. You run your finger along my outer guard rib, the one that takes the most pressure. And there it is. A tiny hairline crack in the polished cypress wood, starting near the pivot and reaching up like a tiny frozen lightning bolt. It is a small flaw, almost invisible. But to you and to me, it is a catastrophe. I am no longer perfect. My smooth, flawless surface is marred. In a court that worships perfection, the perfect poem, the perfect color combination, the perfect gesture, and imperfection like this is a sign of decay. It is a material manifestation of the dreaded mono nowhere. You stare at the tiny crack for a long time. I can feel the warmth of your finger tracing its path over and over. Your expression is one of deep sadness, a sadness that seems far greater than what a small crack in a fan should warrant. But I understand. You are not just seeing a splinter in a piece of wood. You are seeing a reflection of your own anxieties. You see the lines around your own eyes. You see your youth, which is the primary currency for a court lady, beginning to fade. You see the inevitable passage of time, which no amount of poetry or white powder can stop. The life of a court fan was not expected to be long. They were delicate objects, subject to the whims of fashion and the wear and tear of daily use. Some historians suggest that high-ranking ladies might have gone through dozens of fans in a single year. To become attached to one, to see its aging as a reflection of one's own, would have been a deeply personal and perhaps uncommon sentiment. You do not discard me. You could easily have a new fan, 100 new fans, each one more perfect and fashionable than the last. But you do not. Instead, you call for a small pot of clear lacquer. With the tip of a fine brush, you carefully apply a tiny drop of the lacquer into the crack, sealing it. It is not an invisible repair. The lacquer dries to a slightly darker, glossier finish, and the tiny scar on my rib is now a permanent part of me, a golden line where the wood was broken. It is a technique similar to kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold, which celebrates the beauty of imperfection and the history of an object. You have chosen not to hide my flaw, but to honor it. From that day on, our relationship changes. I am no longer just a tool or an accessory. I am a confidant, a fellow traveler in time. When you hold me, your thumb often comes to rest on my repaired rib, a subconscious gesture of comfort and solidarity. I am no longer a symbol of your perfect youthful elegance. I am now a symbol of your resilience, of your ability to endure, to mend what is broken, and to find a new kind of beauty in the scars. The winter drags on. The Emperor grows weaker. The captain remains a distant, silent figure in the honor guard. The weight of the world, it seems, is settling deeper into your bones and into mine. The tiny crack on my rib is a constant reminder that nothing, not the power of an emperor, not the love of a captain, and not the beauty of a court lady is permanent. Everything is destined to crack. Everything is destined to wane. The only question is whether one can find the grace to mend it. Years pass. The world that I was born into has changed, and so have you. The emperor, whose weakness the Minamoto clan had hoped to exploit, eventually died. His successor, a young and vigorous boy, has brought a new energy to the court, but also a new set of political alliances. The Fujiwara family's influence, while still immense, is no longer absolute. The court is a more dangerous, more unpredictable place. You are now a woman in your mid-30s. In the eyes of the Heian court, you are ancient. The young ladies who now dominate the social scene, with their flawless skin and fashionable robes, look at you with a mixture of reverence and pity. You have become a grande dame, a respected elder, a figure of the past. You no longer participate in the frantic social competitions. You have retreated into a world of books, art, and quiet contemplation. Your beauty has not faded, but it has transformed. The mask of white powder is thinner now, and the serene, lacquered perfection of your youth has been replaced by the quiet, dignified beauty of a woman who has seen and survived much. The captain is gone. He was transferred to a remote provincial post years ago, a political casualty of the changing tides. The passionate, secret affair that once defined your days now feels like a story from another life, a poem read long ago. Your correspondence faded, a victim of distance and the impossibility of your situation. And me, I am still with you. I am an anachronism now, my painted blossoms faded, my silk skin softened with age. My repaired rib is a familiar, comforting presence in your hand. I am no longer fashionable, but I am a part of you. You use me not for flirtation or for social maneuvering, but for comfort, fanning yourself slowly as you read. The familiar rustle, a soothing sound in your quiet chambers. It is on a crisp autumn afternoon that your life takes another unexpected turn. A formal proposal of marriage arrives. It is from Lord Tadamichi, the same endlessly dull minister of the treasury who once compared your grace to rice tax collection. He is a widower now, even older, even more powerful, and still, it seems, utterly captivated by you. From a political and practical standpoint, it is an excellent match. It would secure your position for the rest of your life, offering you wealth, security, and a renewed status within the court. Your family is ecstatic. They urge you to accept. Lord Tadamichi's formal request for a meeting is granted. You receive him in your main reception room. He kneels on the other side of your kitchu, your portable curtain of state, just as so many visitors have done over the years. But this time, the conversation is not about poetry or politics. It is about your future. He speaks for a long time, his reedy voice extolling the virtues of his estate, the size of his income, and the honor that marriage to him would bring. He speaks of his desire for a companion in his twilight years. It is a business proposal cloaked in the thinnest veil of courtly language. You listen in silence, your face hidden behind the silk of the kitchu. In your hands you hold me. You hold me tightly, my familiar form a source of strength. You think of your life, of the vibrant, passionate girl you once were. You think of the captain, of the poems, of the stolen glances. You think of the quiet, independent life you have built for yourself, a life of intellectual and artistic freedom that is rare for a woman of your time. Marriage to Tadamichi would mean sacrificing that freedom. It would mean becoming, once again, a beautiful object in a powerful man's house. When he is finally finished, a heavy silence fills the room. He is waiting for your answer. The etiquette of refusal is incredibly delicate. A direct no would be a brutal, unthinkable insult to a man of his rank. You must refuse him in a way that allows him to save face, a rejection so elegant that it almost feels like a compliment. You take a deep breath, and then you perform the final, decisive gesture of our long life together. You bring me up, my form still tightly closed. You hold me in front of you, and with a slow, deliberate motion, you tap my folded end once firmly on the wooden frame of your kichu fed. The sound is soft, but it is utterly final. It is a full stop. Then you lay me down on the floor between you and the screen, pointing my folded tip towards him. This is the gesture. It is the fan language of absolute, polite, and non-negotiable refusal. A fully closed fan, tapped once, and then laid down, is a silent door being shut. It is a gesture that leaves no room for ambiguity, no space for further negotiation. There is a quiet debate among historians about the regional variations of these gestures, but in the capital, this was understood by all. It was the ultimate. It is not to be. Lord Tadamichi understands. He does not argue. He does not plead. He simply says, his voice flat, "I see." He then performs a deep, formal bow, rises, and leaves. You have done it. You have chosen your own path. You have chosen solitude and freedom over security and subservience. You have used me one last time, not to start a conversation, but to end one forever. My purpose, it seems, is complete. After Lord Tadamichi's departure, a profound quiet settles over your chambers. It is the quiet of a decision made, of a path chosen. You sit for a long time, simply staring at me where I lie on the tatami mat. I am a silent testament to the final, definitive act of your social life. You have refused power. You have refused security. You have chosen yourself. You pick me up, your touch gentle, almost reverent. You run your thumb over my faded silk, my painted cherry blossoms now a pale ghost of their former vibrancy. You trace the golden scar of my repaired rib, a shared memory of our journey through time. I have served you well. I was your shield, your messenger, your weapon, your confidant. I have been party to your greatest joys and your deepest sorrows. I have hidden your blushes and your tears. I have carried your secrets in my folds, absorbing the scents of your life, the cherry blossom perfume of your youth, the dangerous alooswood of your political warnings, the meditative sandalwood of your quiet afternoons. Now my service is at an end. There are no more secret lovers to signal, no more boring suitors to block. Your life has moved beyond the silent, coded language of the court. You have found your own voice, one that does not need me to speak for it. With a sigh that is a mixture of sadness and relief, you rise. You walk to a large, black lacquer chest that sits in the corner of your room. It is intricately decorated with inlaid mother-of-pearl, depicting scenes from the tale of Genji. You lift the heavy lid. The chest is filled with the artifacts of your past. There is a stack of yellowed poems tied with a faded silk ribbon, the correspondence from the captain. There is a small, embroidered pouch containing the dried, fragrant remains of the incense from the Kaljo ceremony you won so long ago. There is a single pressed cherry blossom from that long ago Hanami festival. You place me inside, laying me gently on a bed of soft silk. You arrange my tassel so that it lies flat, my jade bead cool against the fabric. You look at me one last time. In the dim light of the chest, my golden repair seems to glow faintly, a tiny star in the scented darkness. Then you close the lid. Darkness. But it is not the expectant darkness of my lacquer box when I was new. This is a final darkness, a peaceful one. It is the quiet of a story that has been told. I am no longer an actor in your life. I am now an archive, a keeper of memories. My purpose is no longer to move, but to remember. Here, in the silent, fragrant tomb of your past, I can finally rest. The sounds of the palace, the rustle of silk, the murmur of poetry, the distant temple bells fade away. The scents of the court, the incense, the blossoms, the perfumes, are now locked in here with me, ghosts of a life lived. I lie here and I reflect. I remember the thrill of that first half-open glimpse, the nervous energy of the poem I carried, the shared silent laughter behind my screen. I remember the profound stillness of the moon viewing, the sharp terror of the ghost story. I remember the feel of your hand, the subtle changes in your grip that told me everything. My life has been a silent one, but it has been full of language. I have spoken of love and curiosity, of boredom and fear, of warning and refusal. I have been a part of a world where the most important things were never said aloud. I hold within my faded folds a lifetime of secrets, a quiet testament to the woman who wielded me with such grace, such intelligence, and such strength. I am no longer just a fan. I am a memory. I am a story. And here, in the darkness, I will keep your secrets safe. And now, as my own story comes to a gentle close, perhaps you can feel yourself beginning to drift as well. The quiet of this lacquer box, the deep, peaceful silence, can be your own. Let the complex world of the Heian court, with all its rules and its whispers, fade into the background of your mind. There are no more poems to compose, no more gestures to interpret. There is only the soft, steady rhythm of your own breathing, a quiet and constant companion. The frantic energy of the day can begin to recede, leaving behind a profound sense of stillness, a deep and welcoming calm that invites you to let go. The weight of your own body, like the heavy silk ropes of the court, can feel comforting, a gentle pressure that grounds you and holds you safe. Each breath you take can be like the slow, languid wave of a fan, a gentle, rhythmic motion that cools and soothes your mind. There's nothing left to do, nothing left to be, except to be here in this quiet moment of peace. You can allow the narrative to fall away like petals from a cherry tree, leaving only the simple, beautiful trunk of your own serene consciousness. Just rest now. Let the story end and let your own sweet, silent dreams begin.